What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. So let's chat quickly about possible release dates for Spider-Man 2. Now don't jump on me because many of you know that as much as we might, sit here and hypothesize, the release date's going to show up. But I'd love to hear your opinions. So in the comment section, whatever it is you're trying to say, just help me indicate real quick what month you think Spider-Man 2 is going to get announced to be released. It's just a fun game. It's a fun exercise. Doesn't mean anything. But I do want to talk about this because there are some things that we have to factor in that would influence, say your potential, decision. Another thing too is, as much as this conversation is going on, we've also seen something that is somewhat similar to this incident in a sense where we got some looks specific to a PlayStation exclusive and many people still were not certain as to when the date was going to release, and then we got a November release date. It wasn't too far off. It was God of War Ragnarok. So if November is a special month for Sony, if they like that month for their fall releases, then it's a possibility that this game might be slotted for November. Another thing too that you have to also go ahead and consider is, as much as many may be saying, it's sometime around September because of God of War or whatever, I've also seen some other comments actually indicate that they think September is when the game is going to come out. Now, I'm leaning more November just to spoil it for you guys, but let's look at the September possibility and let's look at why I think that may not necessarily be likely. Now, Marvel Spider-Man is going to sell a lot. There's no doubt about that. But September is also a really interesting month. In fact, if you were doing analytics or you were trying to make or find reasons to influence the decision on when to actually drop this game, you would probably stay away from September because that is the month that Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out. Many of you might say, well, Spider-Man is going to sell or outsell Mortal Kombat 1. I believe you, but do not be fooled. Mortal Kombat 1, if it came out in the same month as Spider-Man, will eat out of some of the potential Spider-Man sales because brand name is also there, and that game has a way of actually racking in a bunch of sales. It's weird. We can look at the sales data from 2019 when Mortal Kombat 11 came out. According to the people who were reporting how much sales the game had done, we could see that the game was sitting in the top 10 best-selling games in 2019. In fact, according to NPD, they go ahead and rank the Mortal Kombat 11 game at number 5. So this is no small feat for a fighting game to pretty much go ahead and sit above a lot of other games that you would think were going to get the job done. Now, granted, one thing about games like these is they usually carry a lot of hype, with them. So it's not surprising that we're going to go ahead and see something like this. But here's another really interesting thing with Mortal Kombat 11 and its sales, that 2019 period. In 2020, the game Mortal Kombat 11 made its way to one of the top selling games for 2020. It was number 16. So for some strange reason, you're not necessarily going to be surprised anyways that the game has a huge fan base. There are people who are going to be looking forward to it. So if you look at this data piece and it actually influences your decision, then I can see that there might be a reason to possibly not go for September. This doesn't mean Sony won't go for September if they wanted to. I'm just saying that if you're looking at the numbers, a heavy hitter like Mortal Kombat is really, really going to put a dent in your sales. It may not be too significant to people who are not necessarily there to really benefit from the funds, but trust me, on the other side, on the corporate side, where people's, bonuses in terms of like sales teams and executive teams are riding on possible sales copies, they would probably gladly stay away from a game that can eat a few million possible copies from the sales of their game. This is not to say that those people who may want to buy Mortal Kombat and want to buy Spider-Man aren't going to buy both of them eventually. I'm just saying that it will probably be beneficial for some of them to defer the Spider-Man game and play Mortal Kombat since it has more replayability. It requires you to actually be cognizant with the game, skill gaps, learn the characters, and be able to stay, relevant in the game over the course of the cycle. The Spider-Man may be able to wait for some of them. Now, I know some of you are going to buy them both, hopefully myself included, so that's the plan. Now, it leads us back to the November timeline or somewhere there in between. You could also cite that, if you want to think about it, the Starfield game. Oh my gosh. I know some people might be like, yo, Starfield is probably not going to make a single mark on this particular Spider-Man game. Well, not directly. Yes, it's not going to, but indirectly it could. And that is from the perspective of, say, those people who have both a PS5 and an Xbox Series X who prefer to play on their Series X, and those people who are on the PC side who probably would defer the Spider-Man game and still play another PC game while they waited for the inevitable PC port. These are some of the things that if no one is considering, then they may need to take a look at. Now, we don't even have a release date for Starfield. We don't even know if it's going to be showing up, but it is something that I strongly believe will probably have an influence as to how things are done. In fact, I think Starfield will probably do better to stay away from this particular title. But also keep in mind that you can play Starfield on 2 platforms and you can play Mortal Kombat on all the other platforms in terms of new gen and so on and so forth. So the multiplats will probably have some kind of a leg in just kind of putting it into the pool of possible sales for the Spider-Man game. This is why I'm leaning towards November, especially when you add it to the fact that they used it for the God of War release time and it did very well in sales. So I could go with the whole God of War did it, so they are doing it. But we see other factors that make me lean much heavily to actually saying November is the best time for them to probably put it as a release time for this game. Another dark horse is also currently the potential release or potential non-release of a Call of Duty game this year. Call of Duty usually likes to use the fall window sometimes to release its games, but by and large, nothing has been said potentially about this. So it seems to me that that window is wide open for Spider-Man as a whole. I think Miles Morales also got a fall release as well. So I can't remember if it specifically was in November. So this leans, more to that month for me. I could be 100% wrong, but these are some of the reasons why I think so. Let me know in the comment section why you think differently, if you have a different month in mind, or if you have a different reason why you think it's also going to be November. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.